Hi, I completely forgot to do the intro when I was recording, so welcome to part 4 of our life. I hope you enjoy. So, we left off on a little bit of a cliffhanger. You watched them from the back. This was only happening because you told on Lizzie. You didn't regret it. You felt a little guilty, like you had betrayed your sister. You hadn't liked doing it, but had to. But it was her fault for doing it in the first place. I'm gonna go with the guilty. You could still remember the look on Lizzie's face. There was no doubt she felt that way about it. You and your sister didn't always get along, but you cared about each other. This wouldn't change that, you thought. The four of you stood around the kitchen in a lopsided square. All eyes were on Lizzie, who kept her gaze on her feet. Oh, that's Mommy. I was like, who is that? You remember the number for Koph's house, don't you, honey? Lizzie jerked her head in another nod, sullen. Without further prompting, she stepped forward and she began to dial. A little home phone. Mom reached over and pressed a button on the base. Suddenly, you could hear the phone ringing. She turned on the speaker. The phone rang a couple of times, then stopped. Mr. Holden's warm voice came through the other end. Kinda cute. Evening, Holden residence. Lizzie looked over at Mommy, unsure. She nodded encouragingly. Hi, Mr. Holden. It's, Lizzie. Can I talk to Cove?
Absolutely.
Lizzie Black, what a surprise. But of course you can say hey to the boy. He sounded cheery as usual, though definitely meant it when he said it was a surprise. You thought hard, and you were sure that your sister had never called Cove's house before. Mom spoke up before Mr. Holden or Lizzie could say anything more. Her arms were crossed over her chest, her lips pursed. Hi, Cliff. Nolani, Magia, and I are here too. Good evening. We're sorry to bother you so late. You spoke up to say hello too. You said nothing to Cove's dad. I'm gonna say hello. Hi, Mr. Holden. The gang's all here, huh? Is something the matter? His voice grew a bit concerned. Mommy was quick to reassure him. No, well, yes, but it's going to be okay. Lizzie and Cove got into a bit of a fight today. We were hoping that the two of them could talk and make up. Is this a good time for you and Cove?
What?
A fight? Cove didn't tell me anything about that when I came home. It does explain the funk he's been in tonight. He chuckled lightly. Despite that, it didn't seem like he really thought it was funny. Anyway, it's good. You didn't catch us at a bad time. I'll go grab him for you. There was some shuffling on the other end. You must not have gone far because you could still hear him calling out. Cove, there's someone on the phone for you. After a beat of silence, there was more muffled talking from Cove's dad. Come on, bud. Lizzie called just so she can talk to you. Maggie's on the other end listening too. Don't you want to say hi? It took a bit of back and forth, though the conversation seemed one-sided since you couldn't hear Cove properly. Eventually, Cove took the phone from his dad.
Hi.
Hello? Hey, it's Lizzie. Yeah, I know. Dad told me. Cove's tone was defensive. Lizzie turned to Mom, scowling. One stern look from her, though, and Lizzie turned away.
Sorry.
I just called to say I'm sorry for not playing nice with you today. I won't do it again. Lizzie's eyes were downcast, her voice low. You could tell she felt uncomfortable apologizing to Cove in front of everyone. She was still being genuine about feeling bad. Cove must have realized that too because he sighed quietly.
Mm.
Me and Magia should get gold too. That's right, Lizzie had kept denying you two what you deserved. Lizzie was momentarily stunned silent by the demand. She probably forgot that had even happened already. Alright, we all win the gold. Okay, I guess I'm sorry too. A sense of relief washed over everyone at his acceptance of the apology. Mom uncrossed her arms while Mommy's shoulders relaxed. Lizzie's eyebrows raised up. You wondered if she thought that he'd refuse her apology. Dad, can I get off the phone now? You couldn't see him, but it was obvious that Cove felt awkward about the situation. He had come off uncomfortable the entire time, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go back to your room if you want. Be sure to say goodbye first, though. Bye, Lizzie. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Magia. You perked up at the mention of your name. You smiled, even if he couldn't see it. Bye, Cove. With that said, Cove must have handed the phone to his dad and left, since Mr. Holden spoke up.
That's a relief.
All's Well, that ends well, as they say. Thanks for arranging this. I'm sure he appreciates it. As Mom replied, Lizzie tugged on Mommy's hand to catch her attention. Can I go now, too?
Good job.
Sure, sweetie. Thank you very much for apologizing to Cove. Mom flashed a brief smile at Lizzie and nodded her agreement. Given permission to leave, Lizzie scurried off towards the stairs. She seemed to be feeling much better with the incident behind her. Mom and Mommy returned to the phone, taking it off the speaker. They continued talking to Mr. Holden. You couldn't tell what about. You were glad that was the end of it all. Lizzie and Cove might not get along, and probably still won't, but they weren't mad at each other anymore. Mom and Mommy weren't upset either. Everything was finally back to normal. With that thought, you retreated to your own room with a spring in your step. I feel like that was a waste of time. I don't know. I feel like that's really mean to say, because I don't want to be mean, but it just seemed like it lasted a really long time. Are these the ones that I already did? I haven't played this in a while, so I don't remember. I'm just gonna assume I did the shopping and grown up one. I think that I just got done with the grown up one. I think the blue ones are the ones that I haven't done. I feel like this is the one I just did. It was another scorching summer day, the kind where no sooner had you finished one cup of water, you were already filling it up again. Everyone else had something on. So that afternoon, it was just you and Shiloh. This didn't happen much, especially since Cove had arrived. Without Lizzie around, Shiloh looked to you for all the answers. It made you feel pleased or frustrated. Nothing really. Nothing really. Shiloh went along with whatever you wanted, so he wasn't a bother, but he also wasn't that much fun. You drained yet another drink and frowned at the empty vessel. Your thirst was gone, but you still craved something icy cold and refreshing. Something sweet, something like a popsicle, an ice cream cone, an ice cream sandwich, and an ice cream cone. Nothing beats a classic creamy scoop of ice cream on a day like this. There was nothing like that to be found at home. You knew that without needing to look, your moms didn't keep sweets in the house. Blasphemy! Outside, there were plenty of places where such goodies could be obtained, but they were shops and demanded payment in exchange for their products. So you definitely didn't do this one yet, because, I mean, not definitely, I'm like 90% sure I didn't. You sighed, you voiced your predicament aloud, you asked Shiloh for help. Let's just go get some ice cream. How old are we? I don't know how old we are, so this might not be a good idea. I'm just gonna voice it out loud. I want an ice cream cone. Shiloh, I don't even remember who Shiloh is. Is that my little brother, sister? Shiloh, who had been draped over the sofa, perked up. Is this my dog? Oh. Is this my little brother? I love how I don't remember. I think this is my little brother. That sounds good. We don't have anything like that in the house, and I don't have any money. Oh, let me check if I have any. Shiloh rummaged in his backpack and proudly produced an assortment of coins plus one stray button. You set the button aside and counted the coins in neat piles. Just over $1. You announced this to Shiloh. He had almost certainly come to the same conclusion, but he had been watching you expectantly. It's not enough. It's a start. I'll say it's a start. Shiloh beamed at you. We'll need to find some more. Okay. The two of you lifted couch cushions, stuck tiny hands down deep crevices in the sofa and under furniture, and scoured the back of drawers. Most of what you found was useless or gross, bent paper clips, fluffy wisps of dust or sandy crumbs, but every so often one of you would strike silver or bronze and add it to the growing pile of coins. Dusty and disheveled from checking every room and squinting into every tiny nook, the two of you finished pulling your finds. Shiloh held his breath as you counted the coins once again. $2.53 and 2 buttons. You didn't know when the second button had decided to join the party, but you were too pleased with your successful haul to throw it out. Is that enough? You figured he knew the answer without looking to you for confirmation, but the thrill of your success and the reward that would follow canceled out any other feelings you might have had about that. Yeah, you could now afford something at the shops, just one thing, but that was infinitely better than none. Shiloh clapped his hands. Yay! The two of you dashed outside, the promise of sugar buoyed you on to your destination where, breathless but happy, you stared at the overwhelming number of options. You knew what you wanted, but it wasn't just you who had contributed the funds to get the treat. You seemed to notice your pause. Aren't you getting an ice cream cone? Shiloh asked as though he was entirely separate from the decision rather than someone with a stake in the outcome. Do you mind? Shiloh cocked his head to the side. It was your idea. You should choose. You went ahead and got what you wanted originally. Are you really sure it's okay? You tried to get something you both wanted anyway. Is this like both? Like, try to get us both something. It wasn't fair for you to be the only one to decide when he'd been a main factor in making this happen. Some of the money came directly from his backpack. What do you like? All of them. They're so good. He's so sweet. You press further. But what do you really like? Popsicles or ice creams? Which is your favorite? Aw, it's so hard to pick. I don't know. Frustrated, you cut to the heart of the matter. You want me to choose? Yeah. And that was that. You got the dessert you wanted originally and hoped Shiloh would actually like it too. Finally, the reward for all your hard work was in your hands. You laughed at the soft ice cream. The sweetness perked you up. You held it out to Shiloh so he could take a turn. He shook his head. You can finish it. He didn't want any after everything he did to help get it. That was weird. He's too sweet. But you accepted the offer. You tried to include Shiloh. You hesitated. I'm going to try to include him. Even if Shiloh said it was okay, every story you'd ever seen on TV or read in a book said that sharing was caring. You stood your ground, even as the treat started to trickle dangerously towards your fingers. It's only fair that you have some. We both bought it. But you want it more than I do, and getting to play was a lot of fun already. So you can have it. That's more fair. You held it out to him. I want you to have some, even more than I want to finish it, so eat your part. Relenting, Shiloh took the treat and gave it a taste. His eyes lit up. It's really good, thank you. You smiled, pleased with your good deed. You picked the best one. Did he mean that? Shiloh was always nice no matter what happened, even if he hated it. You knew he wouldn't say so. Maybe he thought it was gross, and that's the real reason why he didn't want to take some. You had no idea. You studied him as he ate a little more. He had every appearance of enjoying himself. Still weird. The two of you began to head back home as he ate. You walked side by side on the shore in silence, but your thoughts kept drifting to the boy beside you. Why didn't he speak up for himself? It was almost as if Shiloh didn't know how to say what he felt or was too afraid to. You figured that was his problem and didn't care. That's mean. Are you scared of me? What if he is scared of me? You thought that was kind of sad. Are we friends? I kind of want to ask if he's scared of me, but like that's gonna come off like very weird. I'm just gonna ask. Shiloh opened his eyes wide, seemingly caught off guard by the blunt question. No way. But you don't tell me things, like what you want to do or what treat we should get. That's not 'cause I'm scared, it's 'cause you have better ideas than I do. Unfortunately, this was yet another thing you couldn't entirely believe Shiloh on. You hoped it was true and that he really did feel okay around you though. Shiloh made you unsure about setting a label on the experience of spending the afternoon with just him. There had been good times and there had been confusing ones. You were positive of one thing, at least. The treat was delicious, and that was nice. The sun was low on the horizon as you returned to your neighborhood. There you spotted two very familiar figures up ahead. Up ahead, Lizzie and Cove. You opened your mouth to make your presence known to them just as you saw the tears on Cove's face. You walked straight over, Shiloh at your heels. Once there, you defended Cove, took a moment to make a joke, accused Lizzie of causing trouble, carefully asked about what happened. I'm gonna carefully ask about what happened. Without a time machine, the only way you were going to find out was by asking the witnesses. Lizzie might have done something, but she could have been in the wrong place at the wrong time, or even come to Cove's aid. You wanted to hear the story. Cove, what happened? Magia, I got yelled at. He took a deep, steadying breath. Some grandparents got mad at me. Shiloh says, aw, sorry. Lizzie jerked her head in the direction of a nearby house. Your heart sunk. You knew exactly what had happened. Every year, the same mean old couple rented out that condo for the summer. You, Lizzie, and Shiloh knew to stay away from them, but Cove couldn't have. They're like that with everyone. Even your moms struggled to find anything nice to say about them, but the elderly pair particularly took offense to kids. It didn't matter if they were really nice like Cove. Yeah, Lizzie said. Lizzie drew herself up at that. She looked pointedly in your direction. Uh-huh, I was helping. That's cool. Is there anything I can do? No, I'm just gonna stay away. Or you could teach them a lesson. There was a devilish glint in her eyes. What? You could ding-dong ditch them, go ring the doorbell and run. It'll be great 'cause they're so slow. They'll never catch you. That's dumb. I don't want to go near them ever again.
You're just saying that because you're a chicken.
You're just saying that 'cause you're a cluck-cluck chicken. Cove glared, but didn't take the bait. Lizzie turned to you. You're not a chicken, are you? Yeah, cluck-cluck. You'd rather just avoid them. You thought they deserved worse. I'll do it. No, I don't want to. I mean, she's a good girl. I mean, I have to be a good girl. I'm just gonna say I'd rather avoid them. You looked at the house. Behind those closed doors lurked two beings rich in years but poor in patience. Maybe they deserved retaliation. Maybe they didn't, but the punishment wouldn't be coming from you. It was safer to stay far away from them, and you didn't want to give them the opportunity to make Cove sad again. I'm not doing it either. Another chicken for the coop. This is a hen house now. If we're chickens, you're a lizard, Lizzie. She wagged her tongue at his face. Still better than a bird brain. Chicken. The condo door opened, revealing one of the two culprits. The old man's wizened face was set in a scowl, which was to say he looked exactly like he always did when you saw him. Maybe that was his normal face. What are you kids doing loitering outside my house? Or maybe he was always just in a terrible mood. Nothing. Nothing. He repeated the word as if it was the greatest crime anyone could commit. Nothing good, more like. Get lost. It wasn't as if he owned the space outside the house, but Cove's eyes, still red from his earlier tears, were wide, and you thought it would be best to heed the old man's command. Lizzie took off, with Shiloh immediately trailing after her, without so much as a glance back in your direction. So much for your friendship. You waved your arm at Cove, summoning him to follow you, and ran after Lizzie. The old man's hollers propelled you all from the street to the sanctity of the hill. Only once you were safe did you notice the stitch in your chest and the ache of your legs. You flopped down, the blades of grass tickling your face. Lizzie, who had taken the lead in the end, was already lazing on the ground. Lazing? What? The four of you took a moment to catch your breath and enjoy the feeling of cool grass against your skin. Hey, Cove. Cove lifted his head. I told you there were mean grandparents round here. Cove rolled his eyes, then decided this wasn't dismissive enough and rolled his whole body away from your sister. Lizzie chose to ignore his response and started chatting to Shiloh, who eagerly joined in the conversation. In the back of your mind, you knew you'd be second fiddle again to Shiloh once Lizzie came around. It always went like that. And it was fine, you thought. You still felt a little sad after how much time you spent together today. And it was always annoying. I'm gonna say it's a little sad after how much time we spent together today. You had been hoping the two of you might have become closer, but you had to let it go. He was happy where he was. There were other things to attend to anyway. You wriggled closer to Cove. He had calmed down for the most part and was inspecting a flower. His fingers pinched the stem and tilted the white petals towards him. That's a poppy. Cove glanced at you in acknowledgement, then back to the flower. And the type of poppies on the hill had the name white linen poppy, Mom told me. He quirked a smile. That's funny. He ran a finger around the edge of the petals. It doesn't feel like cloth. You need a lot of them to make anything. He nodded and released the delicate plant, evaluation complete. This is my favorite kind of flower, but I didn't know what it was called. Thanks. Oh my, why is there so many? It's mine too. I like roses. Buttercups are really great. My favorite is snapdragons. Hibiscuses are the best. Peonies are pretty. I love sunflowers. I'd pick tulips. Orchids are the most special. Type your own answer. I like all flowers. I don't care about flowers. I only know what my mom tells me. This is definitely gonna come back in a memory, and he's gonna like get me flowers. Why is his eyebrow so like zigzag? Okay. So what are my favorite flowers? I mean, I do like hibiscuses. So I'm just gonna say that. The tea, hibiscus sweet tea is so good. They're from Hawaii, just like my mommy. And they're pretty like her too. That's so sweet. Okay, anyways. I'm going to end this episode here. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. And I will see you soon.